On this internet page that they said you are the longest living man in Africa who's HIV.
Yes.
If it's the truth, tell us about that. If it's the truth, tell us why, and if it's not, tell us why.
I did some research with a person who is he's a researcher. Now he went through Africa, and he found that the person who was recorded in the World Health Organization was 23 in 2006. Now when he called me, he asked me a question.
Let's start the question again.
Okay.
Let's start the question. Must say the person who was recorded HIV and AIDS.
Okay,
the person
yes.
who was
okay, yes.
I'm starting a question from scratch.
Okay.
I saw on the website they said you are the longest living person in Africa with HIV.
Yes.
If that's the truth, tell us about that. If that's the truth, tell us why, and if not, tell us why.
Under the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, they recorded that the longest person living from birth with the HIV virus was 23 in the year 2006. Now I asked myself, how old was I in 2006? And I found that I was 24 going on 25. So I saw that, say, if the World Health Organization could do research on someone in Uganda, who am I not to go and approach them and tell them, oh, I understand that you have this record, but I was born with this before this person. So can we rectify or confirm and add more to what the discovery is? So for me to be older than that person, it would possibly make me the longest person, but I cannot confirm until they have that virology test to say how old has the virus been in your blood, which I am currently pursuing under the Wits University of Health and Sciences.
So for a person who doesn't know this HIV virus, this terminology, may I ask what may make you think you are born with it? For me to be under, what made me ask questions of me being born with it, because I always, at the age of 4, I started getting sick, and when you're always getting sick, there's got to be something wrong with your system. Now, from the day I was diagnosed in 2003 until the age of 30, I had that question that everyone has: how did I access it? When my life was a timetable, I'd go to school, come home, drink tea, homework, go to sleep. I never had any sexual partners. I never shared needles. I was so cautioned that there is no way that I would get it through mysterious ways, until a family member from the UK, who I told my story, replied and said, I always knew of your condition. Now I never understood. I didn't stop her from telling me what she wanted to tell me, and I said, carry on. And she told me many kids are born with the HIV virus. And there's something that she told me that really made sense. She says, my condition was not of my wrongdoing, but a fault in reproduction. That was the assurance that I was waiting for since the day I was diagnosed until the age of 30, which was that gap of 7 years. Because I needed to know, how did I get this virus when I was never being, I was under caution. I mean, everything about me was a clean sheet. But how did I get it? And when she told me, many kids are born with the virus, but they live a normal life, I got to add the pieces to say, that is why I was put on medication from the age of 4 until today. So I've been on medication for the last 30 years. I'm trying to understand the doctor's approach, because yes, many kids are born with that.
Yes.
But during your time, there was no testing. How
Did they?
There was no testing because it was a taboo. Because it was so, the stigma nowadays is actually at 5%. But in those days it used to be at 95. You get your own plate, your own bedding, you were quarantined. Because people didn't understand what the virus was. They saw it as, say, if I touch a person who's got HIV, I'll get the same disease, because we were not told about it. So people would always fold their hands, say, no, I'm not getting tested. Because you say, if you test me, I'll sue you or kill you. There was that thing, say, because nowadays there's mandatory. In those days it was, I want to do it on my own. But as the world has evolved, we've got to understand that whether you like it or not, you will be tested. But back in those days, getting tested for HIV was something that said no. And they didn't know it as HIV. It was just called AIDS, the killer disease.
Please tell us about the health situation in Zambia.
In Zambia, there's the health side is bad, because most doctors, they've got too many patients that they just mix you. They put the TB guys with the pneumonia guys with the malaria. There's no coordination. So people avoid going to the hospital, that they would rather get to die in their bed, because everything is always on a go slow. There's that saying, I don't get paid to teach you how to take your medication. I'm only paid to give you medication and say, get well. It's still behind. And I'm glad that nowadays it's actually changed. Say, if they don't move with the African time grid, they'll be left behind. That they're moving accordingly. But before that, it was, people hated the hospital, because if you didn't have money, you don't get to go to hospital. There was no free hospital. If you don't know anyone at the hospital, you die. It was that thing, as long as I've got a link in the hospital, I don't need to line up. It was always that, do me a favor, I'll do, that I would say corruption in short.
Dimbwe, just to repeat, please tell us when did you come to South Africa, and why did you come to South Africa?
In 1992, my father got a contract under the Zambian Consolidated Copper Mines, also known as SCCM. He was a purchasing and supply manager. Now there was a division that was opened in South Africa, pre-independence. So he was working with two other colleagues here. So we had to move as a family. Then when he passed away, my mother was not employed, so we had to go back to Zambia. So going back, that change of climate played so on my health. So my health got to be worse than it was when I was growing up. So when my mother passed away, my aunties, uncles could not keep up with my diet. So they said, go to South Africa, where your health will be kept well, and you'll be with your siblings, which was my immediate sisters. So it was the health factor that made me move from Zambia to here. Because if I had stayed in Zambia staying alone, I wouldn't be here telling my story.
You made such an interesting point that your mother passed away. Tell us about that, and tell us, how did she pass away? What happened?
The time I got to find myself into college, it was the first time for me to be separated from my mother. So she made sure that I was at a nearby college where it was a bus, like a bus ride away. Now when she started getting sick, my studies started going down, because I was more worried about her than my school. So she moved me closer to another college, which was way closer than the one I was at before. Now when she started getting sick, every time I went to see her, she kept on telling me, no, I'm fine, until the day I was told that someone else answered her phone. But it didn't make sense. But how does this person answer my mother's phone? Then I was told everything's going to be alright. And in the background I could hear people crying. until my aunt told me, say, your mother is normal. Now, I got to understand, say, but why was she telling me that she's fine when she was actually dying? So it was her telling me, say, if I told him my condition, it will make him stop school and come and stay with me. So in her keeping information from me, actually kept me moving forward. But even after she died, I just lost all hope. I would club the whole night while there was a funeral at home. I would drink my life out. I mean, I had lost everything until I was told to say there is still life after someone has passed away. So it was my family that said, look, it's not the end of the world. We all have lost somebody, but you have lost someone who really was your pillar. But the best thing I could do was keep her in my heart and say, if she made sure I got to finish school and go to varsity, who am I not to carry on what she started?
I can feel that you're very close with your mother, and yes, for somebody who's close with a mother too and sharing information, did she ever share with you what was her sickness?
No, she died from TB relapse. Because she had TB, then she started medication. Then I don't know whether she stopped a bit, because those tablets were very bitter and very, they're very nauseous. They really make you feel uncomfortable.